Yeah, so take a minute just to begin to settle into this space and this time, to find yourself, to consciously begin to land in yourself. Begin by feeling the presence of your body. See if you can start at the top of your head and just sense your way down through your body, all the way to the soles of your feet and the tips of your toes. And as you feel your body, as you sense your body, the sensations that are present, just notice and see if you can appreciate that this body is the clothing that's housing your soul in this life journey. It's really quite something. And it's one of our deepest identifications when we think of who we are, when we say I or me. Even though we intellectually or conceptually know that we're not our body, there's a really, really deep inner sense, because it's the first experience we had coming into the world was being touched, that this body is who I am. And we don't want to diminish its importance in any way. Like it is the vehicle that was created for the journey of your soul. And there's a certain way that the body, as it ages, as it is shaped by our experience, is exactly perfect for where your soul is in this moment. We may not be happy with that, but it's true that the body, where it is in this moment in time, as it is in this moment in time, is exactly perfect for where the unfolding of your soul is in this moment. And yet there's a sense that you might have, or if you were to ask yourself, where would I be if this body were suddenly to not be here? Who would I be? And in that, we might feel how attached we are to the body itself. How would I feel about the possibility of having this physical body vanish and yet consciousness remain. So we can take a moment to really appreciate how much we actually rely on it, how much we find comfort, even if our body's in pain, how much we find comfort in being able to locate ourselves within this physical form. And how much we tell ourselves that this form and the story that accompanies it, how strongly we identify with that as being who we are. And that story that's connected to our history and the self-images that we have that are part of that history and connected with this body, all the conditioning that we've received from the outer world, our assumptions, our deep convictions, all of that are the psychological construct that's been created, acquired, to go with this body and its story, to make up as complete a sense as we can of being a whole person, a whole human being. So it's not so easy to disidentify from this. And have our awareness shift to something else that is permanent, something that was prior to this body, that's prior to the story. My point in this part of this evening is to allow ourselves to fully appreciate the body, to fully appreciate this ego structure for what it is. To imagine if God were looking at you in this moment, how do you imagine God would feel towards this self? Probably blissfully in love. So as we soften our sense of individuality, of separateness, and remember that there's something that was prior to this individual perception of ourself, and something that created it that's very much present. It can help us to let go of the fear that we're all alone. To sense this unique self in relationship to something that absolutely loves this self, that created it, that's always present. And it's not something separate from us, because when we allow our awareness to expand, to what's not in form, we are that same being. That's looking at the form and in love with it. Our awareness is also fully capable of feeling, experiencing, seeing, tasting what the beloved feels, sees, witnesses. And we can allow the story to unfold from within that which is watching it, witnessing it, aware of it. In this way, we allow grace to touch us, to bless us. And realizing that our thinking mind, though it's also valuable, is a very limited perspective. Its perception is, for the most part, limited to what it's heard, read, experienced in the outer life, reorganizing concepts and thoughts into new forms of thought. So we ask permission then, in our relative ignorance, to follow something that is beyond thought, the longing in our heart, by coming together in this way. To open to the truth of who we are, the deeper truth of who we are. We relinquish in these moments of sacred ceremony our personal agendas, our need to control, what we think we already know. then we become childlike as we open to something deeper that we sense but can never fully grasp, that we may call God, or we may call it true nature, being, the beloved. What it is that our heart is always reaching for. And if we're truly humble in this way, then we see that just as we've been created as a form of consciousness, everything has been created by that same creative source, by the same beloved. So as human beings, we open to our collective humanness. We greet Pachamama, our Mother Earth, the larger body of humanity, the unified body in which we as cells within a bigger organism move within the energetic field of Pachamama. And she shows us our own nature by the ways in which she reflects her nature. So we can take this time to stop doing the doing, to stop striving, and to rest in the body of Pachamama with gratitude. And we greet our ancestors as the spirit of our ancestors also rests within this greater body of consciousness of Pachamama. Part of the soul of Pachamama. As we rest in the body of our Mother Earth, our inner sight can gaze at the spirits of the mountains and feel into their presence, of the bodies of water, through which the emotions of humanity flow. and all of the creatures of the animal kingdom. Moving and weaving the consciousness of this moment. The winged beings. And the sea creatures. As we feel our breath, we allow the movement of our breath to let us begin to melt and merge into this bigger flow of intelligent unfolding that we're a part of, but not ever really in control of. And we can feel and sense into the relationship between the unified consciousness of Pachamama and the other planetary beings, the star beings, the relationship between Pachamama and the moon and the sun. The other galaxies, universes, absent of the human thinking mind, we can open to the harmony that all of life is moving within. And we can invite this unified presence and the experience of unity and oneness to begin to move through the cells of our own physical bodies, our own experience. As we soften any places where we're holding our body, where we feel like we have a need to hold ourselves together. A sense of solidness. We can actually relax that and allow the harmony of all being to begin to open within us. And then to ask the question, who am I? In this moment? Who is this awareness? What is this awareness? That has a body but isn't the body? That has thoughts but isn't my thoughts? It has feelings and emotions but isn't those feelings or emotions? It has sensations but isn't the sensations? Who am I? Our mind can pay attention to all kinds of things, none of which are who I am. If I pay attention to attention, who am I? What is it that's aware of the sound of this voice. What is it that's aware of the sensations in this body? This awareness itself. That's free of the content. It's aware of the body, but free of the body. Aware of the thoughts, but free of the thoughts. This awareness itself. That gazes upon this life with unconditional love and acceptance. And yet it's also free of concepts like love and acceptance. It just is. This awareness that is always awake. Completely still, silent, and empty. It doesn't have thoughts, and yet it's something that you can experience. Awareness. It can be in your right foot. Could be in your left shoulder, top of your head, the corner of the ceiling. Awareness can expand to be aware of itself in everything, everywhere. Or in the eye of a needle. And as you find yourself conscious in this location that you call you call I or me, The awareness is aware of a point of light. That is your true identity. A point of light that's also without history. Without thought. Without opinions or judgments. It's the radiance that is the source of your life as an individual in creation, guided by the inner wisdom of that which created you. So we can experience this point of light as this unique manifestation of being with all of the awareness of being itself. We can also experience the light of this entire circle as one being. Awareness can be present to the collective. It's another way of knowing ourselves. And what's arising in this collective. Feel the light, the radiance, as the many become one, and yet your awareness remains in the location of your being, perceiving from the location of your being. But perceiving a unity, a oneness. What happens when the many become one? Softening. Allowing the harmony, the wisdom, the experience of something greater than anything your mind can conceive of to enter and flow through the cells of this unified being. Opening the pathways of the true self. Flows in and around the structures of the psychological self. So this beautiful creation that's identified as this physical body and all of its structures looks outward for the source of itself. But as we enter into meditation, we turn from the outer manifestation inward to something that has no image, no voice, no structures, no history. And yet it's very much alive. And it's only when we turn our gaze inward in this way and forget the outer manifestation that we realize that there's nowhere to go. We can never be lost. That this true self is indestructible, eternal. In an ever-present state of love. And there's nowhere to go to find it because it's never been lost. We can only point ourselves in the direction of this presence. That is, I am, the true self, to rest in its emptiness. Which we could also describe as awareness seeing itself. Who am I? Who am I? And how is this awareness revealing itself within me? Even as what's aware has no sensation, no thought, no emotion, I find that there's sensation, thought, and emotion arising within me. The first manifestation that arises out of this awareness is essence, pure essence, the many faces of love. When we are allowing the harmony of all being to flow through us, essence flows through us as compassion, strength, love, peacefulness, joyfulness, steadfastness. These are all pure tones of essence that arise as needed and become the true personality. When we allow ourselves to turn around so that awareness is seeing itself. To allow ourselves to begin to soften our identification with our psychological structures as being a real somebody, to see them for what they are, just to watch them like a machine. It's in constant motion, but it's not who we are. The true self has nothing to trigger it because it's empty. It's awareness. So we don't reject the egoic self, the psychological self. We love it for what it is, for its ability to function in the world, to manifest from within this deeper reality that is eternal through this form that is impermanent. We become aware of the suffering of the separate self, but not rejecting of it, holding it, loving it for being what it is. We rest in something that's much bigger, that never leaves us, and that is us. Feeling the unity that is all of us as part of it, as part of us. Not demanding effort, but moving with a wisdom, a dynamism that's part of its nature, moving through us, living through us effortlessly. Allowing your point of awareness to move with your imagination into the part of you that can feel what God is feeling as God is looking down upon you. Blissful love. So as we come into these last few minutes of our time together in this way, tonight we start with the awareness of yourself. And we say thank you. Open to the blessing of grace that's always present. For the circle that allows us to experience ourselves in this way as a collective. We say thank you. Our ancestors, for the ways in which the thread of their life stories have woven together to come together as this being that is us. We say thank you. Our guides and teachers here on the earth and those who've passed over, who have pointed our attention towards the truth of ourself and accompanied us both in the times of joy and the times of suffering, times of confusion and the times of clarity. We say thank you. To the light beings, the masters, the angelic presences, who in this moment are gathered around us, illuminating the formless wisdom of our true nature, inviting us to rest in it, to be blessed by it. We say thank you. And more immediately, to the spirits of the land of Pachamama and Pachamama herself, for the gift of life, for the ways in which she holds us in that same unconditional love. And invites us to walk and play upon her body as we find ourselves. We say thank you. Aho.